Q&A 2026. Yes, hello and answers. Hello and welcome to another video. And this time I'm answering the questions left via you in my this year's Q&A. Let's hope there's some to answer. Okay, the first one is from Fadi Kuri, who says, I don't get your Tegan satire and jokes in your season by season and other Davison videos. Well, that's not a question. It's because I don't like her, love. I don't much like his other companions either. Sorry, not. Okay. Well, not the most not the most exciting of starts there. Okay, we get 5 questions from the Lantern universe. First question is, what sort of music do you like? Well, I tend to like rock and pop, and call me old-fashioned. I do like a good ballad as well. Mainly like 80s and 90s music, some early 2000s. I really don't know anything what passes for music these days. Like with most things, I'm old. I'm completely disconnected from whatever passes for anything nowadays. Mainly because most of it's crap, but I have tried it. But yeah, generally like 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s. I like pop, some rock. I'm very trad. Question 2: Perry or Ace? Ace. Though I do like Perry, and I prefer her to Tegan. Sorry, Fadi Curie. But yeah, it has to be Ace. 3: You could have 3 complete Second Doctor stories of your choice completed, or every single First Doctor story completed. Choose. I'm sorry, I'd have to go with the 3 complete Second Doctor stories. I just would. It's my second favourite Doctor in the era, and I like his stuff more than the First Doctor. Sorry. As for what I'd choose, I don't know. Power, Fury, probably Abominable Snowmen, because that animation sucks ass. I don't know though. Maybe, there's so many other alternatives. I mean, Evil. I'd love to see the complete Evil. I'd like to see the Highlanders. I don't know. Definitely Power and Fury, I think. Third one's a little bit more interchangeable. Okay, question 4. When are you moving back to Australia? No, never. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not going through that again. Like at the moment, I'm still getting sorted, though it's mostly sorted. I'm just still kind of thinking about decorating walls and stuff like that, but mostly it's pretty much done. And I have to say I'm quite content at the moment. I like it. I like the house. Yeah, the living room is much bigger than the other living room I had in my previous house in the UK. Main bedroom's probably about the same size, though it's bigger because it doesn't have these 2 ridiculous Mr. and Mrs. wardrobes sticking out halfway into the thing, so I like that better as well. The garden's better because there's less of it and it's flat. It's going to need doing soon, but it probably won't cost as much to have done as the bloody other one because it's not as much. Mostly weeds growing up at the moment. The grass isn't even growing that far, but it's a lot less of a fucking mess than the other one I had. And there is no comparison between this and that god awful unit I was stuck in Townsville. God, it is so peaceful here. After like 3.5 months of non-stop bloody noise from the road, it is so quiet and so peaceful. I'm in a corner of this quiet little bloody cul-de-sac. I barely hear a peep. I barely hear even an ounce of noise, and it's so lovely and so peaceful and so quiet. The only thing I don't like about it is that it is a bit far from the shops because I don't drive. It is a bit far. It's not so much the bloody distance as it is they're down at the bottom of a large hill, which means you've got to walk back up again. And it's not so much that it's knackering, though it certainly is. But I stuffed my leg up about a month or so back, moving bloody boxes around and bookcases and all this sort of thing. I pulled something or did something, tore a hamstring, something, and it was bloody agony for 2 weeks. And it got better. It was still a little bit tight, but it was pretty much better, and it certainly didn't hurt anymore. And unfortunately, I had to have the bathroom floor done, and the floor was only wanted bloody cash, so I had to start traipsing out to find an ATM, and it was at the bottom of this bloody big hill. And like I said, then you got to walk back up again, and it stuffed my leg up again. It's starting to get a little bit better now, but it's still not back to normal. It got bloody swollen and tight, and God knows what I did to it. I've been doing all things you should do, like putting your leg up and putting stuff on it and all the rest of it. And I've been able to start taking my dog for little walks around neighbourhood flat. But bloody hell, it stuffed it up royally. So that I don't think I'm going to be going down there again for a bloody long time. So that's the only thing I don't like. But on the other hand, I mean, you can pretty much have everything bloody delivered anyway these days, so who cares? I like the house. The neighbourhood is very respectable, very well kept. You feel safe, and it's very quiet and very peaceful. So, quite happy, to be honest. Not necessarily saying I'm staying here forever. I am contemplating eventually possibly moving to Chipping Norton, because I mean it depends on prices over time, because at the moment I can't afford to get one at the moment. I could afford to get like a retirement apartment, but I'm not old enough to get a retirement apartment. You've got to be at least 55, and I'm at least 4 years off of that. So we'll see. I'm not necessarily staying. I don't see me going back to Australia. Again, I wouldn't say it's completely impossible, because they do have cheaper like retirement units in South Australia, which is where I wanted to go in the first place, and somehow ended up stuck in bloody Townsville. But I'm not putting my dog through that again. So I don't see that happening. That was the longest response quite yet to a joke question. And his final questions: what is your favourite food and alcoholic drink? Oh, now then. Well, food, I don't know. I like food. I like food a lot. Probably chicken Kiev. I really, really like chicken Kiev, though, I mean, I like lots of things. I have been I've started being on a health kick the last month. I have to tell you something here. Maybe it's just I'm getting to that age. But I have been absolutely bloody exhausted for years. I have just been just fatigued as hell and tired all the time. And even getting to the point where I couldn't even enjoy like watching TV or movies and that, because it got to like 7 o'clock at night and I'm ready for fucking bed. And I put it down to getting old. I put it down to being a bit overweight. I put it down to stress, because I mean the last 4.25 years have been pretty bloody stressful, with both my parents passing on, and not one, not two, but 3 international moves. That's stress. Turns out I was just eating crap. I've cut out a ton of sugar, not 100%, because that would be that's next to impossible, but I've cut down on it massively. I've started eating other stuff. If I'm having something, I've switched to like a healthier version, like pizza. I like pizza. I've switched to a sourdough one with fewer ingredients, like fewer preservatives and emulsifiers and all that crap. I've cut out sugary cereals in the morning. I now have no sugar shredded wheat with fresh blueberries, which are supposed to be like a superfood. I'm having more eggs and more like fish and chicken and even some roast beef. And you know what? It's bloody worked. It took about 2 weeks, and my fatigue has just gone. I've got more fucking energy than I've had in bloody years. So it just shows you, doesn't it? It just shows you. Stop eating crap. So yeah, I mean, and I mean the good thing is I'm enjoying it. It's all good food. It's not like I'm eating rabbit food or crap, and oh god. So it's not like it's a diet where you're desperate for it to end so you can go back to eating some good stuff. I'm enjoying all of it. It's good stuff. So it's a permanent switch, and it's not doesn't seem to be costing me much. In fact, my grocery bill's gone down because I'm actually drinking less. I'm actually drinking less flavored water. Still having a bit, but I've cut that down as well because of the sweeteners. I've kind of sort of replaced that with almond milk, not instead of proper milk, but as an addendum. That's really light. You can get ones with minimum sugar or no sugar at all. It's really nice. I'm quite happy to drink it. Like I said, it's worked. It seems to be doing me good. Apart from my bloody leg, which is starting to improve, but apart from that, I'm feeling bloody good. So, but anyway, that wasn't your question. What is your favourite food? I don't know. Probably chicken Kiev. Alcoholic drink? I don't drink. I really don't. I just don't like alcohol. There's no big story behind it. I just don't like the taste. I never have. I've just never seen the appeal. I drink water, whole milk. Flavoured whole milk, it's flavoured kind of, by myself with powder and that, not the supermarket stuff. I still have a nice coffee, but it's a relatively low sugar one with fewer ingredients again, less crap in it. I've started drinking almond milk, and I still have a bit of flavoured water. I just don't drink alcohol. I'd much rather sit down and have a glass of chocolate milk. Sorry. Okay. Anything else? Where are we? OFC1 or something says, I don't know what that's meant to be. N4S says, would you do some more rankings on series, movies, best and worst characters, etc. for Star Trek, Star Wars, James Bond, possibly more Doctor Who? Well, I am planning to do some more rankings on, like, ranking Doctor's stories, because I have kind of started that this year. I did a Seventh Doctor one. I am planning to do more. Star Trek is definitely a possibility. I don't think I'd probably do Star Wars or James Bond, because I'm not really that much of a fan. Star Wars, I like the original trilogy, and that's it. And Jedi is probably my favourite, just because that's the one I saw in the cinema as a kid, and I have the most nostalgia affection for it. And I did watch it again a couple of years ago and still enjoyed it. But I really don't care for any of the others. I never really liked the prequels, and I could care less about Disney's crap. And Bond, there again, I like the Roger Moores. I quite like the Timothy Daltons. Beyond that, I don't really care. But yeah, there's probably some more classic series Doctor Who. I am thinking of some other ranking videos, like kind of ranking movie decades or TV decades, or ranking my favourite Sherlock Holmes things, or ranking my favourite lesbian movies. That might be fun. If you have any suggestions, drop them in. I could always take somebody's good idea. I don't think Star Wars or James Bond. Star Trek maybe, because I generally like Star Trek. I don't care for the modern Kurtzman era at all. But otherwise I like Star Trek. I still haven't seen all of the original series. I've seen some of it. I've seen the original cast movies, obviously, and I watched all of TNG and DS9 and Voyager and Enterprise. So I could certainly rank those. If you have any suggestions as to what kind of ranking videos you'd like to see, you can always drop them in, and if I like them, I'll do them. Sally Wagenblatt, 3 questions. Oh, goody. Please, what are your thoughts on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer revival getting cancelled without the pilot ever airing, so now there's not going to be a series. My thought is, result. That is my thought. I don't want Buffy revival. I'm sorry. I mean, I did a whole video a while back about how I don't want a Buffy bloody revival. It's like, why can't you just leave things alone? There was no chance in hell it was ever going to be good, because the days in which they could make good things are well and truly over. We're in days now where they make nothing but shit. And judging from some of what I've heard about the leaked script for the pilot, yeah, it was typical modern crapola. And I mean, I'm sorry, it's too late. I mean, for fuck's sake, Dawn and Xander are now both dead. Wasn't that a kick in the teeth both times? Jesus, like, holy shit. So I'm sorry. I really am sorry. But I mean, there's no Buffy without Xander. I'm sorry, there just isn't. And everybody's just too bloody old. The time has passed. Look, it had a great bloody run. It ran for 7 seasons, and if you account Angel as well, that's fucking 12 seasons of that universe. What more do you bloody want? You know, it's. I lived in dread for years of that getting a revival, and my heart sank when they said they would do it, and I just did a little dance of joy. I did the jig of joy. The dance of joy, Numfar, when I heard that it was being canned, because there was no way it was ever going to be good, and all it was going to do was crap on the original. I'm sorry. I just hope they don't bloody try again. Just leave it. For God's sake, everything does not need to last forever. But Hollywood is just so creatively bankrupt and out of ideas at this point. But yeah, I was and am utterly relieved. There was no way it was going to be good. There was no way I was going to watch it either, because I mean, you'd have had to get Hulu or whatever it was going to be, and I'm not booing it. I'm not endless streaming services just to watch crap. I'm sorry, no, go away. But I'm incredibly relieved, and I really hope they just don't. For God's sake. Half the cast is dead. It's over. Her second question is, what are your thoughts on the newly updated Blu-ray release of the Doctor Who TV movie with its special features and extra scenes, and would I ever buy it? I have to be honest, I don't think so. Because I don't really like it, and I never did, and I bought the fucking thing twice already. Well, 3 times if you count the VHS. And I think I tried to watch it again, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I ended up turning it off after about 20 minutes. I don't like it. It doesn't feel like Doctor Who. I just don't think it was very good. I know lots of people orgasm over it, and it just doesn't feel like Doctor Who to me. And what Doctor Who it does feel like is more like New Who, which I don't like either, so. And I spend enough money on it. I just don't see me buying that. I'm sorry. I can't really afford to buy a lot these days, and frankly, if I can, I'd rather get like an 80s movie horror that I haven't seen before or something. Sorry. And our last question is, finally, do you think Jonathan Creek will ever return for new episodes? No, I don't think it will, because like David Renwick's retired. David Renwick's packed up, and apparently he doesn't think much of the current BBC any more than the rest of us as well. So now, I mean, and it was his thing. I mean, nobody else ever wrote an episode of it. So no, I think it's done. And I mean, to be honest, that last season was bloody terrible as well. So it's like even Renwick seemed to have lost it. So no, I think we just have to enjoy what there was. I don't see that ever coming back either. Which is sad. It was a great show, but like Buffy, it's had its time, and time has moved on, unfortunately. Okay, Mark McCambridge says, who shot JR? Wasn't it Sue Ellen? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea because I never actually watched Dallas, but I think I may have absorbed that information by cultural osmosis. I think it was Sue Ellen, wasn't it? I don't know. Favorite Richard Lehman book? Well, I'm sure I've probably said this before, but my favorite was Endless Night, which was the very first book of his that I ever read. It was like the early midish 90s. At that point, I used to kind of like go to bed and like read a couple of chapters of a book before going to sleep, and that was the first one. I got that Endless Night out of the library along with a bunch of others books, not Richard Lehman books. He was an author I'd never heard of, and had nothing to do with. And like I said, I used to I used to like read a couple of chapters and then go to bed. And I started that book, and I ended up staying up till like 2 or 3 in the morning because I could not put it down. And it was the first. It was not only his first. It was the first kind of extreme horror book I'd ever read. I was like, I just could not believe some of the shit that was going down in that book, dude. um, basically, basically, it's about a teenage girl who's on a sleepover at her best friend's house, and the house gets invaded by this pack of human flesh-wearing thrill serial killers who massacre the family. She manages to escape along with her best friend's like 11-year-old brother, but unfortunately they don't want to leave any survivors or witnesses, so they just keep coming after them. And it wasn't like one of these books where it takes an age to get going. It like kicked off in the first chapter, and I just I'd never read anything like it at that point, and I couldn't put it down. And it's still my favourite of his. Just insane. And his last question is, what's the last movie you ever saw in the cinema? Well, actually, it was The Roses just last year, in October, I think it was, because I was in Chipping Norton visiting relatives before my ill-fated move, and they actually have a little cinema on the high street, which is very convenient. And I wanted to kill an afternoon. And there were only a few movies playing, and that was the only one that even looked moderately appealing. It was okay. I mean, it was a totally unnecessary remake. The original's still better, but as a sort of British middle class comedy version of it, it was fine. It was watchable. I wouldn't get it on Blu-ray, but it was perfectly watchable, and it killed a couple of hours amiably enough. Next question is from South Park 333 Gaming. Is there any official Doctor Who related content currently being released that appeals to you in any way? The collection sets. That's about it, really. I mean, the Space Pirates is apparently being animated, though they haven't announced it yet or anything. Whether it'll be this year, I don't know. Unfortunately, I've heard it's the same team that did the last few, so I mean, I'll probably buy it out of, I don't know, obsessive compulsive disorders, but I'm not expecting it to be very good. I mean, I've failed utterly to sit through the last couple. I failed utterly to sit through the Savages or Celestial Toymaker. I can't remember what. I didn't think most of the Underwater Men is one either, so I don't know. The collection sets, really. That's about it. Sorry. Reviews, rants, and religion. Has a couple of questions. Question: who are the best and worst characters from Neighbours? Sod the short-lived Amazon remake era. Well, prefacing this, I have to say, I've not watched all of Neighbours. I mean, how long was it? 40 fucking seasons or something? 41? I watched like the 80s. I mean, I originally started watching it like mid-86, so I have gone back and watched '85 and the first half of '86 through to late '93 when I gave it the boot, and then I came back in 2004. Pretty much from the beginning. I didn't actually realize I started watching it so early in the season, but when I watched it again a few years ago, I remembered it. So I was like, hey, I actually watched this stuff then. And then I came back in 2004 because I was kind of curious about the fact that they were bringing like old characters back. I was curious about the fact that they'd brought Sky in as a teenager, and I was curious about the fact that they'd brought David Bishop back, played by the same actor who played him for like a fortnight in 1988, and they'd brought him in as a regular, which I thought was quite amazing considering their propensity for recasting. So I kind of tuned in again to see them, and I liked them, and I found myself liking the majority of the other characters. So I stuck around, and I got into it again. Unfortunately, they then started comprehensively ruining it again in 2005, and I gave up again early to mid 2006. So those are the only eras and characters that I can, choose from, because I've not watched the rest of it and not particularly interested in doing so. The best 80s characters: Jim, Big Jim, you got to love Big Jim. Paul, of course. Clive, Maggie and Harold, Mrs. Mangle. Early 90s, I did like the cast, the new characters, the new characters that came in like 1990 and 91. I really liked Dorothy. I really liked Josh. I really liked the twins. I really liked the original Willis family. Cody was always one of my favourite characters, the original Cody. I had a massive fucking crush on her back in the day. Let's not go into that again. And from the 2004-ish era, Sky, the Bishops. I really liked David and Lil and Serena. I was appalled by what they did to them. I liked Max, not Max Ramsey, Max Hoyland. And I loved Lana. I loved the actress so much. I've said I followed her over to Wicked Science, which has turned out to be a fun show that I like as well. So those are the characters I can talk about. Worst? I don't know. Worst from the 80s. From the 80s, I was never big on Scott and Charlene. They frequently got on my fucking tits. I didn't think much of them back then, and I don't think much of them now. A lot of the teenage characters in the 80s I didn't really care for. I was never really interested in Mike, and he turned into a right obnoxious twat later on as well. It's funny. It's funny, really, because I never got into those. Whereas I really liked the Todd and Cody, Josh and Melissa gang from the early '90s. But the ones from the '80s, I never found appealing. Like Nick and Sharon, were eye rolling as well. From the 2000 period that I saw, I was not big on the Scullys. I mean, I liked Steph, but I preferred her with the Hoylands. I didn't particularly like or care about Lynn or Jack, to be honest. They were the weakest members of the cast in 2004, in my opinion. Everybody else was kind of good to great, and those two characters I was kind of rolled my eyes at. And can we get back to the good characters now instead? Though it has to be said, I don't want to go into a tangent rant, but they really ruined a lot of the characters from 2004 in the subsequent couple of years, because they went completely insane in that show. Anyway, enough of that. What is the worst ever Doctor Who story? I mean, anything, pretty much from anything from the last 8 years is garbage. Let's be brutally honest. There's too many New Who stories to choose from. Just say New Who. If you're talking about the worst ever classic Who story, I don't know. Mind Warp is a solid choice. But I mean, if you include New Who, God knows. I haven't. I haven't even watched most of this crap from the last 8 years, and I've no interest in doing so again. Not a question, but with AI, there will be less need for artists, singers, or even human thinking. No, I don't buy that at all. AI doesn't do anything that it's not told to do. I don't buy this hysterical fear of it. AI does not do anything without a human telling it to do it. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. And half the time then it doesn't do it right. And I know that will probably improve, but as it has done. But I don't buy that AI is going to do anything without somebody telling it to do it. It's not. I just don't buy it. There's another one from OR FC1N4S. Are you a fan of any of the British soaps? No. I briefly watched EastEnders back in like early '91 before we emigrated, and they didn't have it in Australia. I think ABC had run it, and then they just stopped. And maybe it went to one of the satellite ones or something, but I've never been interested again. Oddly enough, I never watched Coronation Street. Oddly enough, I did watch some Coronation Street like last year. I think on YouTube, I watched like the Richard Hillman storyline, and I kind of carried on into the teenage David Platt Psycho storyline. That was quite entertaining. I quite liked that. It was rather enjoyable. I kind of drifted off after that. I kind of drifted off again after that and gave up on it. But those two storylines were kind of fun. But other than that, no, I don't watch any of them. And the last question, again from South Park 333 Gaming. If you were granted 3 wishes, what would you do? Better be careful with this one, aren't we? This could get you into trouble. I don't know. Eternal youth, eternal money, eternal health, I guess. Anyway, that appears to be that. Oh, well, I didn't think there were that many, but it's lasted a while, and it's gone over half an hour, me rambling, even if I have gone off on a tangent on some of them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this year's Q&A, and I will talk to you again soon. Comment.